I don't know what state you live in, Tommy, sir, but in my state, one of the ones that I worked at in Rehoboth cost the residents 9 to 12 grand a month, okay, for an efficiency, basically a one-room efficiency apartment. So I am talking about stuff I know. I do know how much it costs to live there, and I also know what they're paying staff. It's not much.
So today is moving day. We are moving my husband's parents into a $10,000 a month one bedroom apartment. So this is what $10,000 a month looks like in the Midwest for, it's not a nursing home per se, although it's an assisted living. So it's the rental amount and then you have the care levels and that's where it gets expensive. So they're doing assisted living, which helps them in their daily life.
10,000 a month. I don't know what kind of assistant. You better assist everything my grandfather or father need. Or you better assist everything. That's crazy.
Hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm a mom of 3 boys, ages 8, 6, and almost 3. I'm also a sandwich generation mother / caregiver to my mom who has vascular dementia. My mom is currently in assisted living that is 20 minutes away from me. Let's get into how expensive assisted living is. First of all, assisted living is private pay or by long-term care insurance. Assisted living facilities is not paid by Medicare, Medicaid. Now, assisted living facility pricing can vary depending on your location and level of care. Some of the less expensive ones are like 4,000, 5,000, but that's like the cheaper end. A lot of them can range 6,000, 7. I've seen 8,000, 10,000, even $12,000 a month. Now, the higher the care level, the more expensive the assisted living price will be. So if you require more care, then yeah, it's going to be more expensive. Where my mom's at, she is a level 1 for now, and she has a small room, and her, she is paying about $6,000 a month. And how does she pay for it? Well, first of all, my brother is the financial power of attorney who oversees her finances. My mom receives a teacher pension as well as Social Security. I believe how a lot of the elderly that are in assisted living is paid by pension, Social Security. A lot of times they sell their estate. I don't know about other ways, but yeah, that's how it's paid for. Oh, maybe some kind of retirement money. Oh yeah, long-term care insurance. I don't know how much adult children contribute to their parents' assisted living because, yeah, there's no way I can financially contribute to her assisted living expenses other than some things here and there. So yeah, assisted living, very, very, very expensive.
$6,000 is what it's going to cost you if you want to just have minimum home care. And we're not talking full time. 6,000 is just so you could have somebody come in a couple of times out of the week for a couple of hours, and that's about $6,000 on average. If you want to move into an assisted living community, again, depending where you are, I'm in San Diego, now you're maybe at about $7,000. Now, if you want independent senior living, you might get away with like, say, $3,500. But you know what you can get for $200? 24/7 supervision. You can get 24/7 access to a licensed MD. For $200, you could have sensors that would detect falls, that would send all of this important data to your doctor, to family. For $200, you could also have access to health coaching. For $200, it can help you manage your medications. It can provide entertainment, and it could do so much more. And I know that AI is like kind of a dirty word or a scary word for some of us, or exciting. For me, as a senior living strategist, what AI is going to do for us that are caregivers for adult children, it is going to give you your freedom. It is going to give you an opportunity to understand what the data means and then know what to do about it. Look, it's coming for us whether we want to embrace it or not. My job here on this app is to educate you, is to connect you to resources, is to provide support. And what keeps me up at night is that the spectrum is so wide, right? Like some of us are working with 20 grand a month and others are working with $200 a month. Where is relief? Who's coming to save us? No one. This is why community is so important. If we haven't met and you stayed this long, thank you so much. I'm Natalie. I have an agency called Senior Living Services, and I help seniors and their families figure shit out. So if you love someone that is over the age 65, 55 actually, if you love somebody over the age 55, if you have an elder that you support like a parent or a grandparent, then please follow, like, and in the comments, I want to know, who are you a caregiver to at the moment?
Bro, that's a lot, man. Depending on how old I am, if I know it's gonna cost my kids that much for home care, I'm gonna just tell them take me out. I don't want y'all struggling. And this next clip, this guy saying, even if you have money, it still could be a lot. Watch this.
Just put her in a home, they say. Yeah, that's not a reality. And so let me educate people on the cost of assisted living. And I'll give you an example. My aunt, she retired in her 60s. She's 97 years old and she was substantially wealthy. That money went fast. Do the math. At $8,000 to $10,000 a month over the course of 10, 12 years, that's a substantial amount of money. By the way, as they get older and need more assistance, those homes charge for everything. If she calls somebody to come and help change the channel on her television, she gets charged. If she called because she wanted a bag of peanuts because she's hungry, she gets charged. And so that money runs out quick. So the reality is that there are a lot of these Gen X and millennial that are taking care of their boomer parents and older. And you want to keep them at home for as long as possible, and that's where we come in. Because when they really do need to go in the home, that's when the money really starts going out. So you need to sort of think about these things.
For 31 years, my mom's been paying into a long-term care policy, and now it's time to use it. However, it takes 90 days for them to activate the policy after you submit 10 miles worth of paperwork. So in the meantime, it's $8,000 a month that we have to pay for long-term care because she can't be alone. She had a brainstem stroke and she has Alzheimer's. So she's currently at my house for the weekend, and I'm going over some things with her, but it's really hard because she doesn't remember anything. So we need a UB04 form from the hospital in Georgia. Also, I received a hospital bill for my dad, and do you know how much they charged for a frickin' Foley catheter? $900. If you're in healthcare, you know that is a total scam. Hospitals are scamming our health insurance companies who are then passing the charge over to us. And I'm literally, I just want to move to Europe where things are free. So if you have any ideas on how I can get a UB04 form, please let me know, because I'm just tired. I'm tired. And I'm leaving for Maine on Wednesday, and I have to go work for the summer, and I've got to get this done, and I'm having a major meltdown. So rant over.
A lot of people new to dealing with ailing loved ones have asked me about the costs involved with setting up care for your parents or whatever your loved ones are. My response is, it's not cheap, but it varies from state to state to state to state, and even different places in the state. And of course, the different kinds of facilities or type of care that you choose. If you do home care, there's a certain hourly rate. If you do go to a facility like a nursing home or skilled nursing, or wind up having to go into memory care or assisted living, there's different levels within It's a complex web. I'm in New Jersey, which is pretty high comparatively, across the country, and I'm in an expensive part of the state. But before my parents moved in January, we were paying for home health aide to come in 46 hours a day at about $36 an hour. Then we knew they couldn't live independently, so we had to bring them down to a continuing care retirement community. We started them in independent living with an aide again. Independent living, it's a whole different cost structure, but we bought the initial fee for a 2-bedroom apartment was $400,000. They get 90% back when they move out, and they paid about $5,300 a month for the two of them for all the amenities, and there's a meal plan, blah blah blah. Well, that lasted about 4 or 5 months until Mom fell again and broke multiple things. She's got Parkinson's, and long story short, when she got out of the hospital, she was on skilled nursing since June. That costs a lot. That costs us $620 a day or $19,000 a month. If you're interested, on my profile, I did post a spreadsheet that breaks down costs across the country for some different levels of continuing care. For a nursing home with a private room in New Jersey, it's about $14,000. My mom is paying $19,000. Skilled nursing, a little bit of a different nuance there, but that's the best comparison. But you can find your state and then the type of care that you're looking at to see what's the average potential pricing is going to be, and it breaks it out by monthly versus annually. So right now, since Medicare booted my mom off our rehab, since September, we've been paying her $19,000 a month, plus my dad's component for his independent living, which is $4,300 a month, so about $23,000 a month and change. But guess what? The utilities are included. Other questions I've gotten are, how do you pay for that? Well, that's the $100,000 question. No pun intended. But thankfully, my parents have assets. They have some income from Social Security and pensions, but they have assets. My mom was a registered nurse all her life. My dad was a educator, elementary school principal. My mom took a lot of call. My dad played in a band on the weekends for weddings and stuff like that. They stashed cash, and different times. So yeah, pension, Social Security, savings, they're okay for now. But at $23,000 a month, it dwindles fast. But take a look at that guide that I posted up in my profile. I basically just went to ChatGPT and I said, make me a list. And it spit me out. It checked a bunch of resources and said, do you want to break it down state by state? I said, sure. And it sent me out a spreadsheet, and I just tweaked it. And so it's a safe file. Don't worry about it. It's fine. But it'll give you an idea if you're starting to look for costs, what approximations are. But like I said, my situation for my mom, it's showing for New Jersey, it says it should be $14,000. It's actually, she's actually $19,000. So she's in skilled nursing. So you just have to kind of factor in your individual situation.
Unless your dad is Batman or something, $23,000 a month? And apparently I'm not the only one. Lady named Bernadette, she can't take it. Talk to him, Bernadette.
I'm Bernadette. I've been a caregiver to my elderly parents for the past 10 years. And I am getting true sticker shock from looking at the prices of assisted living. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that they're costly and expensive and things like that. But when you start really getting into it and digging into the numbers, it is still mind-boggling. As you may or may not know, I am getting ready to exit. October is my planned date to stop day-to-day primary caregiving duties. So, of course, I'm looking at what are the options now so I can lay out a plan that will work and so that I can transition out. And part of the plan has been looking at assisted living. I've been looking at memory care. And the fact that one of the facilities that's nearby me that is really nice could run me for both folks, because both my folks would need like memory care. They couldn't do assisted living, which would be cheaper. But because of where they are, they would have to have memory care. And it would be like $9,600 a month for them, for both of them. And that is considered the affordable rate in the great state of Ohio. So you can see how off-putting it could be sometimes when people will just say, well, just put them in a home or just hire help. It's like, who's got an extra 10 grand sitting around in their pockets? But, this is the journey I'm on. For me, I have to find out how we're going to afford these options, because my plan is still to end my day-to-day caregiving duties. But economically, you see, no matter how burnt out some of us are, tired, done, over it, financially, you're just really priced out of options. So tell me what your experience is. Follow along with me to make sure you see how I figure this puzzle out, the money puzzle of assisted living. And scream out in the comments what your experience has been.
Do you want to know why assisted livings are so insanely expensive? And it's not because the corporations are greedy, because I promise you, most assisted livings are not even effing profitable. It's because it costs a ton of money to operate them. In a standard 100-bed assisted living community with, let's say, 80 residents, the average operating costs per month are over $500,000. And of that $500,000, more than half of that is just for labor. Prices have skyrocketed since COVID, and the reason is not because of inflation. Of course, that's part of it, but the reason is there became such a staffing shortage, and it completely changed the way we had to pay our caregivers. For the better, they deserve it. They are effing angels. Same with the nurses, of course, but it was hard to sustain because that meant that prices had to go way up. But if you want to know more specifics about how everything else is broken down and what you're paying for each month, let me know in the comments, and I'm so happy to go into specifics.
Okay, my sis, thank you for that information. It's crazy that they're not profitable. This lady in this next clip is saying the inheritance is not going to get passed down. The boomers, they're spending more of their money and they're not perishing in their own homes.
I want to hear an economic breakdown of what's going to happen when boomers start going into assisted living facilities. Because people are living longer, they're eating through more of their savings. Boomers have shown they aren't going to leave a ton for inheritance, and for assisted living and memory care, that's very expensive. And so I feel like inheritances are going to continue to go down, down, down. And then on top of that, they aren't perishing in their homes anymore. They're usually selling their home to downsize or selling their home to go into these assisted living facilities. So people aren't really inheriting real estate. I feel like the inherited wealth cycle is being interrupted in a really huge way. There's going to be a huge wealth transfer from boomers to these corporations. They are corporations that run and invest and expand on these assisted care facilities. And so now children are not inheriting what they used to. And obviously, like, it is the parents' money to spend how they will, how they wish. I'm not saying it's, right or wrong, but it's definitely going to shape the economic landscape. And I would love to see research on that. What is that going to look like when you're not inheriting a house and $200,000? You're inheriting, $5,000, if that, or maybe you even have to pay because your parents ran out of money. Like my great grandmother, she went through multiple strokes. She died at 96 and they had to turn her regularly so she didn't get bed sores. Zero quality of life. But dang, those bills still came in and our family had to cover it. I don't know. It's really interesting. And I think it's going to change a lot when these boomers start getting into that zone. I don't know. What do y'all think?
Things I really wish I had known when I was looking for assisted living for my mom. They'll tell you the monthly price. That's for the room and 3 meals a day. Care levels cost more. Medication management costs more. Even help with something simple costs more. They make a trip to the local store each week sound like a dream. It costs extra. And when you're already overwhelmed trying to help your parents, you don't think to ask all these questions. So to save you a headache, I made a simple checklist of what to ask before you choose a place. The link is in my bio, and this could literally save you thousands. I learned the hard way. It was not good.
But today I just experienced something with her care facility and it irritated the out of me. So her care facility that she's at, that she pays buttloads of money for, they told me today, I was like, I just had surgery. I can't really take her physically and like move her and help her get to her appointment. So I'm going to need someone to help me. Do you guys have like medical escorts that maybe can come with me to the medical appointment? Or do you guys have transport or, people that will take her? And they said, no, I mean, we do have medical escorts. That's totally doable. They can come with you, but they're $30 an hour. Where do I get that job? I would happily be paid $30 an hour to take my mom to her appointments all day, every day, or patients, whatever. Sign me the fuck up. Because when I was an in-home caregiver, I'm talking, she lived with me in my home. I cooked for her. I bathed her. I gave her her medicine, all that fun stuff, right? Took care of her. I was getting paid minimum wage. So you're telling me that these facility workers get paid $30 an hour just to escort a patient with a family member to their doctor's appointments? It's fucking mind-blowing, right? Like, the state can only pay care supporters minimum wage, but these facilities can pay their workers $30 an hour? Or no, I'm sorry. They charge us $30 an hour. It's fucking ridiculous. Anyways, thanks for my rant today, and thanks for listening. Just had to let that out.
$30 an hour, that's a lot. That's crazy. I learned a lot with this video, man. I didn't know that these people was making that much money. I knew it was probably up there, but the way you see these facilities popping up everywhere, you're like, man, there's some people that got some money. If y'all know anybody who's going through this, assisted care facility living, or if you guys are going through it, let me know. What are you guys spending? Are you guys spending around the same money they're spending? I'm pretty sure you are, or more. But hopefully you guys as parents stay nice and healthy for a long time. And speaking of parents, more and more Americans are having to move back in with their parents because of the economy. If you guys want to see that madness and that drama, click right here. Again, it's Josh from Talk to Him, boy, and I just talked to you, boy. I'm out. Peace.